Post to your profile. Share via email. Report story. By Deku Mage. Ochako passed some bustling stalls as she made her way through the mall. What should get Deku and everyone else? She thought, should I get them something cheap? Or maybe something they'll actually enjoy? The last question was a hard one for her. Though she was cautious with how she spent her money, every now and then she spent a little more for her friends and family. She wasn't really worried on what to get the others. As Jiro would be happy for some new music, Hagakure would be good with a romance novel and etc. But as she went down the list, she began to worry about what to get for Deku. What with him owning almost all existing All Might merchandises, it quickly became hard for her to think of something to buy him that would make him happy and he doesn't already own. Along the way to a hero merchandise store, she saw a couple kissing with mistletoe hanging above them. The sight caused her to drift back to what Mina said when they talked together last night. It would be so sweet if your present to Midori was your confessing, she had said. This has caused Ochako to promptly float herself until Momo could calm her down. Ochako began to blush at the memory, and quickly went into the shop all the while holding her head down to hide her blush. With things as they were, even if she were to attempt that, she'd end up a blubbering mess. Maybe I should just give him the present and leave it at that. She thought, there's no way he'd like me. Was soon met with an array of hero merch, and quickly came to the conclusion that the best gift for him was a new All Might plushie that was modeled after his weakened form. Mina and Kirishima walked into the merchandise store looking for something to give their friends. It has started with Mina wanting to go because she knew Ochako would be in the area, but she told Kirishima that it was for presents. Which was technically true as she was giving her classmates the gift of love. As they wandered through the store, they soon came upon some familiar chestnut hair. Kirishima nearly walked up to her to say hello, but was stopped by Mina. Wait, she said, pointing to the bag by Ochako's feet. Let's secretly put the presents in there to help her out. Kirishima nodded his head, clearly pumped about how manly the idea was. So Mina had Kirishima distract Ochako, while she took the All Might plushie, that she could only assume was for Midoriya, and replaced it with one that had a heart saying, "Be my hero," in cursive writing. She went up front and had it wrapped before placing safely in Ochako's bag. Ochako had finished talking with Kirishima and Mina by the time she was ready to leave. She didn't have time to second-guess any of the gifts, as she still had to wrap them and place them under the tree. When she got back to the Heights Alliance, she placed her carefully wrapped presents under the tree in the common room. Then, she went upstairs to get an outfit ready as she wanted to take a shower before going back downstairs. After showering and changing, she was soon met with the sound of explosions outside her door. She looked out to see Bakugo chasing Kaminari while Iida was yelling at them to stop. She went downstairs and sat in the common room, her stupor only broken by a certain green-haired boy holding 2 mugs of hot chocolate. Here, he said, offering one to her, I thought you might want some. She accepted the mug, saying, thanks, Deku. Before drinking some, not too long after, she was met with a burnt tongue. Ouch, she exclaimed before setting the mug on the table. I should have warned you that it was still hot, he said, scratching the back of his neck. As she was about to reply, she was interrupted by Iida announcing that they would be opening the presents now. The pair made their way over to the tree. While everyone was opening the presents and making a pile of wrapping paper build up, after a while the sound of cheers from opening presents died down as the pile of presents began to diminish. Soon there were only a few presents left. Ochako picked up her present and handed it to Midoriya. Open your present, Deku, she said. Midoriya took the box and unwrapped it carefully, trying not to ruin the wrapping paper. What he saw inside the box made him blush as red as Kirishima's hair. Ochako looked inside the box and reacted the same way. I swear, this isn't the present I got you. She muttered under her breath. Looks like she finally did it, Kaminari said before getting hit in the neck with an earphone jack. There was a small moment of silence before Midoriya sputtered out appreciation for her gift. She quickly nodded accepting it before looking away from him in an attempt to hide her blush. This failed due to an outburst from Bakugo. Yeah, we get it, round face likes shitty and vice versa. Can we move the fuck on? Letting out a small eep, Ochako took the opportunity to make a dash for room. Sitting on her balcony, she decided to use her quirk to float herself while being tethered to the balcony. Now looking out on all of Musudafu, seeing all the Christmas lights in their full glory, made her forget about what happened downstairs, that is until someone started knocking on her door. Releasing herself from her quirk she went to open the door, to reveal Midoriya, still a little red from the events downstairs. Deku, I'm sorry about Wa, she said before being cut off. It's okay, he said holding the plushie, I like it. Soon they both sat on her balcony talking and joking like nothing ever happened. Ochako floated herself and him to the roof, and both looked out on Tokyo in silence. Hey, Ochako said after a while, was Bakugo telling the truth about you liking me? It took Midoriya a while to think up what to say to that. Yeah. He decided to say. There was no point in lying now, he thought. She turned to look at him. Well, I like you too, she said leaning in. Midoriya saw her leaning in slowly. He panicked mentally, not knowing what to do. At last, he went the rest of the way using his heart. And the two shared their first kiss showered in lights. Where stories live. Discover now.